Hello, aspirants. Welcome to the Hi-Fi of the Day. Daily Current Affairs by Alchemy IAS Institute. I am Suhas and we are going to discuss the 5 most important news topic of the day. How Rajiv Gandhi's decision to send the troops to the Sri Lanka cost him his life. What was the background? What is the background of the Sri Lankan conflict? In Sri Lanka, there are ethnically two kind of people, like Sri Lankan Tamilians were there and Sinhalese were there. So continuous clashes happened between these two groups, and Tamilians' struggle was for getting opportunity in job and education, but they faced oppression from the Sinhalese. That Tamilians reached from Tamil Nadu to Sri Lanka for as a laborers during the British time, and initially, the India stand was sympathized towards the Tamilians cause, like India provided limited support to the Tamil rebels as arms and trainings. But in 1987, Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and J.R. Jayawardene signed the Indo-Sri Lankan Accord. In that agreement, it was promised that the Sri Lankan government will provide autonomy to the Tamilian region. And in the light of that agreement, India sent peacekeeping forces (IPKF) to Sri Lanka to combat these rebels like PLOT and LTT rebels. There are a lot of other groups also were active at that time, and India to an extent got succeeded in combating these rebels, and including the PLOT surrendered arms, but the LTT, that liberation of Tamil Tigers Elam, they were reluctant to surrender their arms. They were not disarmed. They continued the fight. So the things got escalated from the peacekeeping. It turned into combats, combatants, like that. A urban war witnessed in Sri Lanka, and that episode has been that extended to 3 years approximately, and about 1,000 Indians lost their life in that continuous conflict, continuous combat episodes. So what happened? That episode has been termed as India's Vietnam. After this, the political fallout happened in both Sri Lanka and India. That Rajiv Gandhi lost the election, and later assassination happened in Sri Perumbudur in Tamil Nadu. That the suicide rebels blasted, and Rajiv Gandhi got assassinated. So what India learned from this, the long-term impact was India became cautious in future when forming the foreign policy, when intervening militarily in other nation. It should be very cautious, and it was a lesson for Indians while engaging in other country. And we framed a policy based on that. And this topic is actually important for UPSC in the context of IR, internal security, religious preference in prisons, food, a court ruling and rules. The recent judgment in the case of Ritesh Kumar Shah in 2025, he is a under trial person in jail. It's a follower of Jain. He approached the special court for getting Jain food, and the court allowed that. But the jail couldn't comply with that. So the court issued a show cause notice to the jail authority, to the jail superintendent. So what is the norms? What are the model prison manual provisions? Like in jail, there is a model provision. There is a provision that this much calorie food should be given to every prisoners, and the state should follow that. But states still have the like state practices have some flexibility, like for example, Maharashtra have flexibility, like in Shravana Masa they provide fruits in the canteen, and in during Ramzan time, that fasting for fasting people, like prisoners, they will get extra food, and it allowed the before sunrise food also. So state have some flexibility, and the key court ruling, like Allahabad High Court versus Allahabad High Court ruling, like Lakshmi Narayana versus state in 1958, it said like jail is not the place for a personalized or it's like individual food. So individual food is not allowed in jail. And in Punjab and Haryana High Court in 2017 said that demand for a universal or as like a uniform code for a Ramzan food, like for prisoners Ramzan time food, there should be a uniform provision should be there. And Satyendra Jain case in 2022, surprisingly, that court rejected the demand of the Jain food in 2022. Now in 2025, court allowed. So it is clear that the court can decide on case to case basis for about this individual food. But if somebody wants the food that which prepared from its from their home, special appeal should be provided. Okay, appeal should be moved. And the legal position summary is like yes, religious freedom is there under Article 25. Religious freedom is there. It's a right of every individual to follow the religion's practices. If some food is prohibited, they can avoid that. But if they need some extra food, actually religious freedom is there, but those are also subjected to the prison's discipline, and a uniform guideline should be there for the prison food, the religious food in prison. So this topic we can mention in GS 2 and GS 2 and 3. Okay, and ethics also. How melting glaciers can lead to more volcanic eruption. That glacier melting, how it happened. A study presented in Kozhikode Conference 2025 Prague, it says that the melting of glaciers increases the volcanic eruption rate. How it happened? What is the mechanism? When the ice melt, the pressure exerted by the ice, it got released. Or it's like that when the ice melt off, that pressure got released. Or it's like the pressure is reduced on the land. So this will help, or else this will cause the eruption of lava. And historical example, we can say that in Greenland, in Iceland, in 10,000 to 15,000 years ago, that during the glacier retreat, more and more eruption happened, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 times more than today's eruption rate. And what are the additional climate link? When more precipitation happens, when these water reach at the ground level or below ground level, it will interact with the lava and magma, and the lava will erupt. Okay, and the climate impact of volcanic eruption, there are two impact. For short term impact, definitely that volcanic eruption will cool down the temperature because of the dispersed matters like sulfur dioxide and all. But in long term, due to this gas release like carbon dioxide, these greenhouse gases, this will result in a long term global warming, that volcanic eruption. And what is vicious climate volcanic cycle? That during an eruption, this greenhouse gas is emitted, and this will increase the global warming, and this global warming will again result in ice melting of glaciers, and this melting of glaciers will again increase the eruption rate. So this is a vicious cycle. It continuously happens. This topic is important for geography and environment. Why Namibia and Africa matters to India in the context of the Prime Minister Modi's visit in 2025? Why it is important? What are the connections? What are the historical connections? Why India Namibia historical ties? India helped Namibia to get independence. During the independence movement, India helped, and India hosted its first embassy. And why Namibia matters to India? Namibia matters to India for a energy security. Like we are importing critical minerals and uranium kind of energy, means minerals from Namibia, and it is important for India's nuclear power production. And India-Africa strategic importance. India is investing in Africa, and Africa is important for energy security. And Africa joined in G20, India's presidency. And India versus China in Africa, there is a difference between India's approach and China's approach. India is actually like in a approach like not on Africa. India is approaching on Africans. So that is emotional and soft power diplomacy connection is there. But China's diplomacy is depth-to-depth diplomacy, and mainly based on the BRI loans, Belt Road Initiative loans. Okay, so that the difference is very clear. India is actually like doesn't have a coercive diplomacy, but China is having a coercive diplomacy. And India's Africa policy highlight is more soft power, and India is focusing on Africans more than Africa. Gene edited rise by NAPGR, phosphate uptake and yield boost. What is the matter, why it is important, why phosphorus matter? Phosphorus is important for plant growth, especially like root and shoot growth, but only very limited amount of phosphorus will be uh, uh, able to uptake intake by the plants. Okay, so why this gene edited? That gene editing is done by the CRISPR Cas9. And what gene edited happened, like the gene which transfer the phosphorus, or as like transfer phosphorus from root to shoot, there is a suppressor gene is there, that suppressor gene edited, so now more and more phosphorus can be transferred to the plant shoot. So the gene edited rise inline shows that the higher seed and panicle number, like yield increased by 40% using 10% of the recommended phosphorus. Like that phosphorus, whatever phosphorus fertilizers we are applying in the soil, that plant is very earlier the plant got very limited, or else like plant couldn't absorb more phosphorus, but rest of the phosphorus will be either leached to the water bodies, or else like it will be in the soil only. So why, how it was done? We suppressed we edited the suppressor gene of phosphorus transferring shoot. So the hypothesis testing used in japonica rice as models. What is the importance for India? In India, like more soils are phosphorus deficient, so it is important for India. Like we can use less phosphorus fertilizer only, and for this phosphorus deficient soils, this edited plan will be better for India. What are the concern and the regulatory aspects? Till now, like it is on experimental basis only, not at released. So what are the future impact that we have to study it?